Hey, gifted crafters, welcome to Saturday CrafterNoon. You see, you guys are just chatting it up out there. Awesome, I love it. Thank you guys for attending today's session. So if you're new to watching us, my name is Nancy from GiftsHQ, and I host these weekly live sessions to talk about all things crafting. So we talk about anything from sewing, knitting, crocheting, embroidery, decoupage, any kind of craft that's out there. We try to cover it, and I like to shake things up and do different things every week, and we share tips, tricks, and ideas with one another. And I like to help out anyone who is selling things at like craft fairs or maybe have an Etsy shop. I like to throw some ideas out there to help you guys out and see if you can come up with some new ideas for your store or your craft fair little corner. So let's just say hello to a few of our friends out there. I see Amy Bowles. I see Boricua Sewing and Crafts. Hey, I see Kathy, aka Crazy Knitting Nana. I see Crafting with Robin, Donna Phillips, Jackie Hallman, Judy Bauer, 1 Minute Tips. I see Robin's Cook Basket. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining. And I'll be kind of checking in and out on the chat. So I'll be checking for questions, but feel free to chat among yourselves and share different ideas and tips. And just let me know if you're interested or if you have a question or want me to point something out. So I just wanted to say a big hello to everyone. And today, I like to share the little holidays that are out there. So today is actually National Empanada Day. So of course, I have my empanadas, homemade. Well, my mom made it. So yes, if my sister's out there, I'm eating empanadas. So these are just a little bit of a treat. From the Hispanic community. You can find these in your grocery store, usually in the freezer section. It's just like a little dough that you have, and you kind of flatten it out, and people put different things inside. So I actually have, I like meats and stuff, so I have ground turkey because I don't like to do the red meat for empanadas. So I do ground turkey, but there's also, you can do just cheese. So they're very yummy. Yes, Robin, they are. They're really yummy. Love it. So definitely today is National Empanada Days. These are super easy to do. Once you just set down the dough and you put the little whatever it is you want inside, whether it be the meat or the cheese, or you can do the meat and the cheese or whatever you want to put inside, you just fold it over, and then I usually just take a little fork and just kind of prick the edges, throw it into some oil, and then it will just, fry up. And of course, you'll have your empanadas. So I just like them. They're really yummy. They have a good snack. So this is what they look like once you got them out. And yeah, they smell good and they're really good. So I will definitely be having these as soon as this live is over. Alrighty. So what else is today? Well, today is also Zoo Lovers Day. It's also Draw a Bird Day. So get your little drawing pencils out and let's draw some birds. Go to the zoo, take a little walk. And today is also, for all my Australia fans out there, today is Easter Saturday. And yes, that is a thing. In Australia, they celebrate Easter Saturday. So if you're from Australia and you're tuning in, hi, and have a happy Easter Saturday. Okay, so if you're tuning in, you've noticed, if you're here for the first time, you've noticed that I started off with a trivia. So I host these trivia questions on a weekly basis, and we are now working towards our second quarter Trivia Master. So at the end of every quarter, every year, we like to kind of tally up the points, and we just track what everyone has gotten throughout the whole year. And when we tally up the points every quarter, we like to kind of just announce who our Trivia Master is. And last week, we announced our first quarter Trivia Master, and that was Judy Bauer. And I see she is on the chat. Hey, Judy. and I hope that you really enjoyed it. So what I did was I went ahead and gifted some stuff over to Judy. We sent her over a book that we gave her 3 options that she can pick from, and so she picked a book and that got sent over to her. We also sent over a $20 Amazon gift card so she can purchase anything she needs, and hopefully, you know, she can do some more crafting. So I believe Judy picked the sewing book, so let's see what she can sew up, and I hope that you share all of that with us on our Facebook page, GiftsHQ.USA. So the other couple of things that we had last week. So we had a few things because, of course, it was April Fool's Day. So if you didn't see that live, that was live number 36, and it started a little strange, I guess, right? Because we kind of played with some AI technology, and when we were doing the AI technology, you know, we kind of just started off that way. People thought it was me, but it wasn't really me. And we talked about how pretty amazing it is, right? For AI technology, it's really changing not only how people do business, you know, it's changing the students' lives, it's changing the workplace, but it's also changing crafting. You know, it's making things easier for us to be able to do these YouTube channels, to be able to, you know, do all kinds of things. I mean, this is really a game changer. So, you know, try to do a little research, do a little digging into AI, because there's so many amazing things that you can do. And I'll be dropping little pieces of it here and there throughout the year as I learn more and more about it. So it is a lot of fun. Alrighty, now I also covered a couple other things last week. We looked at how you can take Dollar Tree cutting boards to make your templates. And these are like sewing templates that you can use over and over again. And it's a great way to kind of transfer from a regular paper template to one of these hard plasticky ones, because they do last longer. And excuse me, so sorry. Give me 1 second. Too many empanadas, I guess. Sorry, I had that little tickle in my throat, so I had to get that out. So you use these templates, and you typically will, let's say if you buy a book that sometimes has a paper pattern inside. Well, one of the things that's kind of frustrating is when you buy these books, you've got these paper templates, and usually they have a drawing on the front side and a drawing on the back side. So if you cut it up, you won't be able to use any of the drawings that are on the back side, because now you kind of cut it up. So what I like to do is take these templates, and they're made out of a little bit hard plastic. They're from the dollar store, so they're pretty inexpensive, and you can see right through them. So I just put them on top and I trace them, and it's really a great way to kind of be able to reuse the templates over and over again, and they last for a pretty long time. So if you didn't see that last week, just tune in and you can see what I'm talking about, and maybe you have a dollar store nearby that you'll be able to purchase that and help make your templates. A couple other things that we looked at was a soap saver sack. Just did a little quick show and tell of some soap sacks that I made for my hubby and for us. You know, I really enjoyed using that. Also showed the baby blanket, and there's a little baby blanket that I'm making, and I'm using 2 different stitches. One is the the moss stitch, and then it's also called the linen stitch. So it's kind of interchangeably used, but it's a very simple stitch, and it's a very dense stitch. And I'll kind of just show you that quick look of that again. If you recall, this is kind of what it looks like. It's not perfect, but it's really, really dense, and it can keep a baby pretty warm on here. So it's a really pretty pattern that you can make if you use 2. I'm using 2 colors, but you can use multiple different yarns. And I am using a number 4, which is a medium weight worsted weight yarn, and I think it's pretty neat. You know, it's a really nice stitch. It's a very easy stitch if you're new to knitting, and it's just, you know, all you need is the time to be able to repeat the pattern over and over again. It's super, super simple. So if you're someone that's really looking into getting into knitting, you may want to look up the moss stitch or the linen stitch, because it is a pretty basic stitch. Now, I would recommend that you would do something like this after you've learned the pretty basic stitches, like your double crochet, your single crochet. You know, of course, you have to know how to do the chain stitch, which is super, super easy. But once you've gotten those basic tools pretty much set when you're doing your knitting, then you can kind of look into other types of stitches. And I think the moss stitch or the linen stitch is a great stitch to kind of venture out to, because there's so many things you can make with it. Okay, so those were some of the things that we covered last week. And so this week, I've got a few things that I've been working on. It was kind of a little crazy week, so I didn't get too much, you know, not as much as I wanted, but I do have a couple things to show you that I am working on. So let me start off with something that, let's just say, my hubby decided that he wanted to help me with some of the knitting stuff. You know, he kind of thought, oh, that looks pretty easy. You know, I think I could do it. So, you know, I have the Addy and the Central knitting machines. So I went ahead and gave him one of the machines, and we were side by side knitting, and we had a blast. But his project came out a little different from mine. So what we were trying to do is a little bunny. And, well, I guess I'll just show you the two bunnies, and you guys can decide which one he made and which one I made. So this is one of them, and they're not like complete because I still have like tails and things that need to be cut off. But we've got two here, and I don't know the better way to show it, but I mean, they're not horrible. But, you know, I guess he wanted to kind of, you know, give it a try. So, I don't know. Like, you tell me. So, these are, they're very simple to make, right? They were on the Addy machine. And on the Addy machine, I think we just did, it was about 40 or so rows. With some wasted yarn in the beginning and the end of the project. And I ended up making it, but he wanted to make one too. So, but he made his a little bit different. So this is, if you haven't noticed, these are the two. The one that's here on the right-hand side is one, and then this one here is done with a different yarn. It was done with see if I can remember the name of the yarn. They're both the same weight, but this one was a white yarn, and this is kind of more like a beige type yarn. So, you know. So which one did I make? Let me know what you think. Let's call this one number 1, and we'll call this one number 2. So the one that's number 1 is the white yarn, and the one that's number 2 is like this beige yarn. So I will put them up here. And I'll probably do the little side thing. Let me know, which one do you think I made? Was it number 1 or number 2? And there's some funny stories behind this that I'll share with you guys. I don't think my hubby's gonna be too happy, but I just have to share it. All right, I see some answers coming in. Robin says mine is a small rabbit. Yeah, that's number 1. 1 minute tip says 1. Judy Bauer says 1. Crafting with Robin. Everybody's saying 1, 1, 1. Robin says 2 is your husband's. Yeah, that number 2 looks a little freaky. Okay. Hubby was making a space bunny. Baby. You made what? Okay, I think everyone pretty much knows me by now. So yes, I did make number 1. I did the small little bunny. This is my hubby's. He had some challenges. Let's just say that. Let's say he had challenges. But hey, he gave it a try. He gave it a try. I told him to do 40 rows. This don't look like 40 rows. I don't know. Maybe, he just got distracted and he just kept cranking. I don't know. I don't know what was going on, because then he was trying to race with me on, who would finish first. And he had beat me because he was far ahead of me. But then I don't know what happened. And then all of a sudden, I ended up finishing before him. And yet his was a lot longer. So I don't know. But hey, I know 1 minute tips. I've seen you in the chat. You got your hubby to do some knitting. So I wanted to kind of do the same thing. So I did give it a try, and he tried. I can say he tried, but it was just hilarious. We just had a great time. It was a lot of fun. Really funny. But on here, I mean, he did go over the amount of stitches. I'm not sure what happened with the ears. It looks a little strange. Maybe if I twist it down, it might look a little better. And then, I don't know, the nose to me kind of looks like some lips. So it just looks weird. But I think it's still kind of cute. And it is softer though, because I did use the Red Heart yarn on mine. And I noticed that my yarn was a little tougher. It is 100% acrylic. Both of them were 100% acrylic. But my yarn seemed to be like a little rough. Like it's not very soft at all. But it's perfect for these type of projects where you have to kind of mold and shape things. So it's a really simple project. It was about, I want to say 40 rows or so. You're just making basically a square, but you do it as a tube, right? And then you're going to start with waste yarn. You'll make it as a square. You end with your waste yarn. And then when you take it out, let's see if I have, well, you know what? I'm going to use this. This isn't exactly a square, but let's just pretend that it was. So what you would do is once you're done, and let's just say this is the square, you would then take a needle and thread, or your yarn, and you would just kind of loop in and out, doing a stitch coming all the way across, right in the middle. So you would fold it in half and kind of just finger press it down to kind of get the little indent here that you'll see, and then that's where your middle is. So you'll go ahead and stitch in and out, just kind of a weaving motion through both layers of your yarn, because you're going to have double layer since you did a tube. And you're going to weave in and out down through the middle. And then once you do that, you're going to take your 2 corners and you're going to fold it like this into a triangle. And then just kind of finger press that down. What you're then going to do is you made this little crease, and you're going to go ahead and the same thing you did down in the middle, you're going to go ahead and weave in and out through here, just making a triangle. So at the end of the day, you would have made a complete triangle right here. Once you've done that, you're going to have the end of your yarn off to the side, and then you're just going to give it a pull. And when you pull that, it kind of gathers all the yarn and it starts to pull into a shape. And when you do that shape, you're going to then take some polyfill, and you'll just stuff a little bit of polyfill here to kind of mold the shape of the face. And so you'll have the rabbit forming, and then you will cinch the ears just in the bottom, and then that's what you would need to do to just kind of finish it. Then when you're done, you know, you just kind of play with the ears and you can, you know, just fix them to be anything you want, you know. So if you want it kind of facing this way, you could do that. Let me see if I can show you this one. So I just pulled them forward so they look like this. And they're cute little bunnies. So some people stuff candy inside and maybe just close it. And you can do another loop stitch here and then just kind of cinch it closed. So you can use this so that you can just stuff candy on the inside. Or you can just cinch this closed and just have it as a cute little bunny to give to any little kid. You know, and you can put these little type of crafts inside your own little basket. So you know, what we wanted to do today was kind of just have all kinds of Easter gifts that you can make. And what I thought, you know, you could fill your basket up with all of the different crafts that you make. So being one of them here. So then I think what happened here is he ended up stitching the entire ear instead of just cinching the end. So this would have been, you know, cute. And maybe I'm gonna try to see if I can fix it a little bit, but you know, it's fine. You know, hey, I still like it. It's my little bunny that my hubby made. So we had a really fun time. I mean, we were just laughing the whole time, you know, just making these together. So, so you know, crafting is not as easy as people think they are, right? So he tried, and that's the main part. He tried, right? We all have to at least give it a try. Maybe it doesn't come out perfect the first time, but we had a good time crafting together. We were able to spend that time together. We had a ton of laughs. And, you know, it's something that, you know, I can always just fix it. But, you know, I might just leave it the way it is because, you know, it'll always remind me of that moment when we were crafting and laughing and putting this together. So, you know, crafting doesn't have to be just you alone in your craft room. I know a lot of people love to be in their craft room. You know, they shut out the world and, you know, they're just in here crafting. But you can also share your crafting with people and with friends and kids. They love to craft. They love it. You know, so sometimes, you know, it's good to kind of just have somebody go ahead and let them touch your sewing machine or let them touch your knitting machine. Or, you know, like sometimes we're a little like, don't touch my tools, especially my scissors and my rotary cutters. But, you know, sometimes you do need to kind of share your things. We all have to share. And so when we do, you know, you end up with a lot of laughs. You end up with a great memory that you can share and you'll remember all the time. So I know I had moments with my sister doing things through the video, and, you know, we were doing in the hoop projects and we had tons of laughs with that. Had stuff with my hubby here on the knitting machine that I won't ever forget. But, you know, there's all kinds of things that you can do with kids and friends, and, you know, you just make the best of it and you make fun. You know, you have a really, really great time. So don't always just lock yourself into the craft room. I mean, we all know we need a little bit of that. But, you know, try to share your crafts with people and, you know, get together and share those moments with them. Because, you know, you never know. You never know how long they're going to be here. And so you'll always have that memory. And it's just a lot of fun. So I see a lot of people chatting away. Thanks, guys. See. Oh, 1 minute tip says families that craft together stay together. Exactly. Awesome. And, you know, we're a crafting family. My sister crafts, I craft, my mom does a lot of crafting. My dad, not so much, but, you know, maybe he'll give it a try on the knitting machine. Alrighty. So Donna says, I knitted so many bunnies and chicks for Easter. I finally put my yarn away in storage because the patterns were too tempting. It's so addictive. It is. There's so many things that you can make. You know, my biggest thing is time. If just I had more time to just be able to do things, I would love it. But I just have to organize my time a little bit better so I can have time to do more crafts that I love. But definitely something that can be done. Now, he made this bunny, but there was a little bit of a prank for April Fool's Day. So when he was sleeping, my husband's a little bit of a heavy sleeper. So every year, you know, we do little pranks here and there, especially around April Fool's Day. And, you know, when people are not looking, it's always been kind of like a running thing that we do. And so every year, you know, we go ahead and we do these little pranks. So my son woke up really early on April Fool's Day because he knows it was April Fool's Day and he was on full alert, right? So he was the first one up. He woke me up and he said, "Mom, it's April Fool's." and my son is autistic, so he you know, his language is not as elaborate as a typical 22-year-old would be, right? So I kind of woke up and I just said, okay, and he was kind of pushing me over to do something. He wanted to do some kind of prank. He ended up going to my nail polish and he took the nail polish and he kind of carefully undid the covers from my husband's feet and decided he wanted to paint my husband's toenails. So he did. And yes, he made it a really bright pink. So I think, you know, my husband wasn't too happy when he woke up, but, you know, it was a lot of fun. And, you know, these are the little pranks and things that we do. And then, you know, he had to give it a try on the knitting. So that was a lot of fun too. So definitely a lot of memories that you can share with different people. So, okay. So Amy says, my 98-year-old grandmother died and we had to go through some of her belongings in the house ready to sell. Oh, I'm so sorry, Amy. Oh, okay. So you have to go and still watch there. No problem, Amy. So sorry to hear about that. Wow, I'm really sorry to hear. Those are always really hard. But, you know, you cherish those memories, and, you know, that's why, to me, this is so important. You know, sharing your craft with other people, and, you know, you have a great time, you laugh, you have that memory, and no one can ever take that memory from you. So these are just the things that, you know, life is precious, you know, so you really need to kind of take in those moments and really, you know, cherish them. Definitely. So, okay. So I have another item that I want to show you, and these were some in the hoop type projects. So these are more embroidery items. So let me move these over. And, you know, I know some people don't like in the hoop, especially my sister doesn't really like in the hoop projects because, you know, the directions and everything gets, you know, a little crazy. But I promise you, these two embroidery projects that I did were super, super simple. And, you know, it was great because the fabrics that you need, the amount of fabrics was really not that much. Now, of course, I have the Brother SE1900. So I do have a 5x7 hoop that I can use for these in the hoop projects. And you can see here, it wasn't a lot of fabric at all. Like, I think the biggest fabric cut that I had to make was 6x8, I think was the biggest cut, which really is not that much. So you can see here, I cut the fabric to this size. I did cut some batting or wadding, if you want to call it that. And then these were like the different ones I used. I also used a couple of other colors. I used some pinks, some yellows, some blues, a little bit of teal, and purple. And all of these kind of tied in to the backing that I had, which was this one here. So I kind of just used all of these colors together to make a mug rug. And I think it came out pretty cute, and it's for Easter. So I thought it was a really cute idea. Now these colors, I got them as a fat quarter, and I believe they have them in Walmart, but I know they have them in Hobby Lobby too. So, you know, whatever is easier for you to get to. Like, these were the colors that I picked, only because I had this fabric already from last year. And so I thought this would all coordinate really well together for the mug rug. So, you know, not that much material that you need. So they're like little scraps. So it's a great scrap buster project. So if you have any scraps out there that you want to kind of just get rid of, you can use that too. So these are the ones that I had on hand, and I was able to use these to make this mug rug here. And this one's in the shape of an egg. Let me give you a little bit of a close-up of that. Okay. See, so it's got some pretty little colors. It's got the bunny on the bottom. And I just incorporated each of the colors, and I repeated the purple one on the top and the bottom. So I think it's, you know, really neat. And then on the back side, I did have the fabric that I just showed you here. So this was just, it was a cute little in the hoop project. The design was by Juju Designs. I think she had a sale on some of her designs, and I believe the in the hoop projects were 50%. They may still be 50% off. I'm not sure when the project ends and starts. But I do have some jump stitches that I still have to cut off, and I didn't get a chance to do that. And it has a very small hole in the bottom, which is what you use to kind of turn your project over. So I'm just going to grab some of my invisible thread, and I'm going to go ahead and just do a little whip stitch, or I just might throw it on my machine. But I kind of like doing the whip stitch so you don't see it. But since I'm using invisible thread, it probably won't even matter. But I can tell you that, just a warning, for this project, the hole was very small, and I had a kind of a hard time flipping them over. You do have to kind of cut along the edge as best as you can, because that's going to reduce the bulk. And so when you go to flip the project over, it becomes really, really hard because you have such a small space that you're working through. So, but you do want to try to take that bulk out as much as you can, because when you're done with it, you want to try to iron it down and flatten it as much as you can. So it just doesn't feel very bulky on the edges here. And that'll happen if you don't, you know, cut the bulk off before you go ahead and flip it. So I'll give you guys another look. Now, I know there's some jump stitches I need to pull there, but overall, you know, the project is good. And then this is the back side. Okay. So I thought it was a really cute project. And again, this is something else that you can kind of just throw into the basket. You know, you can have the little bunny, you can have mug rugs, you can do kind of crafty like baskets. You know, they don't always necessarily have to be filled up with a ton of candy. Although, you know, you may want to try to throw in a little chocolate or two, I guess, in there. But, you know, little craft baskets, I think they're a lot of fun. And I think the kids, especially when they get a little older, maybe like 8 years old or so, they are really into the crafts and they want to kind of do things. So this will kind of inspire them to kind of, you know, go out there and try to work things and just do something a little bit different with your time besides watching TV and playing video games. So let's see. Let's go over to my next in the hoop item. And this one was using the same backing fabric that I had for the first project. This one has that same one in the back as well, but I also put it on the sides. And here's the fabric that I purchased. And it, like I said, I think I bought it last year. And I want to say I bought it in Hobby Lobby. but I bought like 2 yards of it because I knew that it was really pretty and I was going to incorporate a lot of these colors with different things. And I have kind of been slowly going through the fabric. So this is what I have left. And I also have this nice yellow as well because I think that kind of coordinated with it. I could have used the yellow that I had from the other fat quarter, but I wanted to make sure that, you know, it had not just the plain, you know, not just the little different colors within it. I wanted it to kind of stand out and be flat because I didn't want it to overtake the other pattern that I see here. So I wanted it to kind of all mold together. So, oh, I see my nephew's on. Hey, Carlito. He said, hi, Titi, I love you. Oh, thank you for tuning in, Carlito. Love you too. That's my nephew there. I'm so happy he joined. Oh, awesome. All right, so these were the 2 fabrics that I used for this next project, and this was also a mug rug. Now you notice I do fold my fabrics using the comic board. You can see here I have 2 pins here, and I'll just show you kind of, this one's kind of messy because I was doing it really quick to clean up a little bit before we went on. But here's your typical comic board that you could use for your fabrics. Now, I know we talked about, you know, when I go to Hobby Lobby, if I see that they have these empty bolts, I usually throw them away. So if you see them, you can ask for them and you can tell them if you can just have it, because I like to kind of wrap the fabric into these big bolts, especially if I have a lot of fabric on there. It just helps me organize better. But for the ones where I only have like maybe a yard or, you know, even less than that, then I'll use these comic boards to kind of put my fabric and keep it organized. So I'll take the comic board, I'll kind of put it somewhat in the middle, and then I'll just wrap the fabric around it. And then what I'll do is I'll just take some pins like these and I'll just put them here to kind of just hold it in place. Now you can use all kinds of pins. You don't have to use these. They have the pins, trying to remember the name of it. It's like with a T. I think they're called T pins. People use those as well. And that kind of just holds it in place. And so now I can just kind of put it into my cabinet with this kind of the binding hanging out so I can see what color that is. So that's how I like to kind of store my fabrics, and I kind of keep that like this so that I can see visually what I have, everything that's available for me to be able to make the project. So with these 2 fabrics, this is the mug rug that I made, and it's also with the bunny. What I really loved about this was the crossing, the cross quilting that it did. It's kind of like a cross of the little boxes, and I really loved that. You know, I did a bag that had a similar quilt like this, but I hand did it on the sewing machine. So when I saw this on the mug rug, I thought, oh, this is amazing, because you know how it does take a long time if you are doing it on the sewing machine. You know, you would need to kind of use chalk to mark the lines, and you would just draw your lines with a ruler and then kind of turn your project over and draw the lines going across. And, you know, then you would just go ahead and start sewing those lines, and you would basically quilt that together. Looks really good on a bag. Let me see if I don't think I have the bag with me here. But it looks really nice when you put it on the bags. And so it adds just something a little extra to that. But this is the mug rug that I made. Now, I wasn't too crazy about the blue. I think I should have picked a different color. I was kind of just following what they had in the pattern. So I wasn't a fan of the blue, but I went ahead and left it. Oop, I'm going the wrong way. Here we go. I kind of left it the way it was, but I think I could have done a green instead, or a yellow. Well, not a yellow because I used yellow in the background, but something different, you know. So I wasn't a fan of this, but you can pick and choose your colors, you know. I was just following what it had on the design. And then on the back part, you know, you see the fabric that I had and this side is not quilted. And so you have your batting inside here. And then of course this one also has a little hole here on the side, and I pinned it just to keep it in place. I will have to kind of stitch this together, but you can see that the hole that you have to turn the whole project inside out is quite small. So I had a little hard time, turning it inside out, but once I did, I was able to get that going. So now I'm just going to use my invisible thread to just kind of stitch that shut, and I'll have myself a little mug rug for Easter. So I thought it was a really cute design. Again, this one was designed by Juju, and I think it was really pretty. And it's, again, another project, that you can kind of stick into a little Easter basket for someone. So these are just 3 little things that you can pull together. They're just craft related items, and you can just throw them into a basket along with a couple of other things. Maybe even get a little fat quarter, and a little sewing kit. So just kind of inspire the kids to want to do more crafts. So I thought that would be a cute little Easter basket that you can give out to the kids versus, just like a ton of candy, where then they will just eat all the sugared candy up and drive you insane later. Alrighty. Donna Phillips says the diamond quilt design looks like a rabbit cage wire. The yellow makes the rabbit stand out. I like your fabric choices. Oh, thank you, Donna. Thank you. So I really loved this fabric choice. I really liked how everything coordinated together, but it was because I was using the fat quarter. So it was really easy because it was already kind of coordinating. So I just had to, pick the one that I like. But I really love this fat quarter because I use this colors a lot for all kinds of different things. And even though, they don't have designs, they're not directional, so you can pick and choose them to use anything, so I really loved that. But then you also have, the other fabrics like this one that have the actual designs on them. These are great too. But when you're trying to do things like for quilting, or if you want to do some paper piecing or things like that, so it may kind of distort the actual look that you're trying to get. So you really got to be conscious of the actual fabrics that you're selecting for the project that you're making. So always when you go to make a project, first look at what you have already, because I'm sure that all of us have a really large stash at home. And sometimes, projects like this really don't take much. A lot of these, you can see the size of the fabric that I needed for these projects, and I think they were pretty much the same for both. It really isn't much, because look how small this is. I mean, this was done with the 5x7 hoop, but this is all you need to do this project, this small of a fabric. So you can take any fabric stash that you like, and sometimes you have fabrics out there that you don't even know what you're going to do with, and you can throw them into these in the hoop projects, and it's a great way to get rid of the little stashes that you have. And sometimes they actually surprise you the way they turned out. You never would have thought that this fabric with this, went really cute together. So it really depends what you're making. Look around and see what you have first. Otherwise, fat quarters will be more than enough to do a bunch of these. So, this is really all you're going to need for just one. So if you're looking to make multiple ones, a fat quarter would probably give you plenty if you're looking to just do a little stash to give out to kids. So definitely something that you can put together pretty quickly, and doesn't take too many resources that you may have just lying around already. Some of the other tools that you may need, of course, you're going to need your rotary cutter, but you have some scissors that you're going to want to use in order to cut the fabric as close as you can to the stitch. So there are certain stopping points that you'll have to do that, but really the main one that you would have to do is around the bunny itself. The other steps you do have to, especially on this one, you do have to cut a little bit but it's really not that much, and you don't have to worry about being so accurate on that, because the other fabric or color choice that you're putting is going to kind of overlap it, and then you'll just flip it over. So it's really not too bad. That's why I think these are great for a beginner in the hoop projects. So if you're looking to get into in the hoop projects, you know, these are two designs that were really, really simple, not too bad at all. And it really kind of helps you get going into, you know, getting into those in the hoop projects, because they have some other ones that are pretty complicated. But if you start off slow with something simple like this, you will definitely be able to just kind of start getting used to it, and then just develop the skill set that you need to bring yourself up to a different level so you can do more complicated projects. But I thought that these were just a lot of fun, and you know, they were something that I wanted to kind of just put together for a couple people that I had. So these were my little Easter in the hoop and Easter knitted projects that I put together this week. So did you guys do any crafts, any in the hoops, any Easter, any knitting, any crocheting, any of that? I would really love to see it. So please go to our Facebook group and post it out there, because I love to look at all of the projects that people make, and people are just so creative. So I really want to see what everyone, you know, put together, if they were able to do anything. But if you did, please go ahead and share it, because I really, really, really love to see it. It makes me happy. Okay, I see a couple of comments in there. So Donna, she says, "Aw, do you think we have fabric stashes? Really? I am guilty." Yes, I know, we're all guilty. And my fabric stash, I guess, has gotten a little out of control. And my yarn stash, well, I think you saw a couple weeks ago, it got out of control too. But as long as I keep making projects, I bring that fabric stash down, I'll bring that yarn stash down, and I'm okay. But when it becomes to the point where I can't even get to something because things are in the way, that's when I know they really have a problem. But they're a lot of fun, right? So it's okay. 1 minute tip says, guilty with no shame. Everybody's guilty, I guess. Oh, Judy says, I'm prepping for retirement. Oh, Judy, I'm right behind you. I can't wait. I cannot wait. Let's see. Donna says, I stock up on fabrics and supplies when Joann has their sales. I hardly ever pay full price. Yes, never pay full price. If you don't have the app, you can download the app. And I always, every time I go to Joann's, I have my app ready to go. I know what's on sale. I have my reward points and like all of that stuff. When I go to Michael's is another one. I use their app as well. They give you rewards for the purchases that you make. So not only do you get little coupons like 20% off here and there, but you can also, you know, based on how much you spend, they give you vouchers that you get cash back. So it's like $5, $10, depending, you know, what you spend. So I use those as well. Those are awesome. Love those. But then you have your other sites, like, you know, I introduced you guys to Timo when I placed that first order on those little, you know, I like to test them out. So it was a really small order, little rick-rack stuff that I got. And, you know, I was testing them out to see, you know, if it was really going to be okay. But since then, I think it's kind of taken off. And even all you guys out there have been ordering from them. It's a great place to go to get, you know, simple supplies. You know, why pay, you know, higher prices at these other big box stores when you can find sites like this that'll give you pretty much the quality that you need just to get the job done. So, you know, they're great resources to be out there. So you have your Timo sites. Of course, everyone looks at Amazon as well, but you have your local craft shops. Don't forget to support them, because sometimes you can get great deals. And if you're looking for specialty type items, these are the people that would carry these things to help kind of give you some inspiration for the next project that you're looking to make. Yeah, so Donna says it amazes me how many different crafters can use fabric and thread and yarn to make pattern work up differently. Yes, yes, definitely. Actually, I'm glad you mentioned that, because this bunny was actually, I can't remember the name of the person that did the knitted pattern, but I remember reading that they took a fabric pattern that did something very similar to this, and they kind of just turned it around into a knitting pattern. So they took the pattern, it was made out of fabric, so someone made a fabric bunny, and they looked at the instructions and how they constructed the project, and they kind of try to figure out, how can I do this as a knitted project? So I kind of did the same thing and said, well, how do I do this? Instead of actually knitting it, I want to know, how can I do this on my Addy or my Centro, right? So you can do that with a lot of different things. You can take patterns that people make that are with fabric and turn them into knitting, or vice versa. So you always want to look at things, and you know, I've gotten to that habit now where I can't even like go to a store and I'll, let's say, look at a purse, and the first thing I'm looking at is, you know, I see the purse, yeah, it's pretty and everything, but I'm really looking like, well, how did they make this? Like, okay, so they have a zipper here, and you're looking at the stitching, and you're seeing how the materials that they use and how they sewed it and put the project together. So that's when you know you're really a crafter, because you're starting to look at things not just as, oh, this is a cute bag and I want to buy it, but you start looking at it as, how did they construct this and how can I do this at home? So maybe I won't have the pure leather, but maybe I can make this out of fabric, or I can make this out of felt, or I can make this, you know, out of vinyl. Like, there's so many different things that you can do. So when you're looking at projects, you know, look at it at all kinds of different ways. You know, it doesn't have to, just because it's knitted doesn't mean it has to be knitted. You can also do it with fabric, or you can take the fabric and do it as a knitted project. So there's different ways to look at crafts, and there's different ways that you can make the same exact thing, just using a different way. So you will definitely want to just kind of check that. So let's see, I see other comments on here. The bunnies that you and your husband made are an example of a pattern that turns out totally different. Yeah, and I definitely, you know, you could then take the pattern and then just add your own style to it, because, you know, you could put a ribbing here on the end. I can, you know, make this kind of stretch out more. Maybe I could have made it like he made his pretty long, and maybe instead of stitching this in the back, he could have just left it out, kind of similar to something, let's say, like this, right? So like, I shared a little bear, and I think I have it back here. I did another one. This was like, I think, my prototype one, where you have it kind of flattened out, and you have the bottom portion of the yarn is like kind of stitched here. So I stitched that shut. But, you know, kids will kind of use this as a little dolly, where they kind of, you know, can hold it and squeeze it and, you know, do whatever they want to it. But things like this, you know, just because there's someone has a pattern out there doesn't mean you have to follow it to the T. You can kind of put your own spin to it and try to be creative. And, you know, maybe you want to put a little hat. Maybe you want it to have hair. You know, maybe you want to have eyelashes. So you could do that too. Make it smile. You know, put someone's name on the bottom. You know, there's so many different things that you can do to embellish just existing patterns that are out there. Okay. I see. Wow. So Crafting with Robin says, I have placed many Temu orders and I haven't had any issues. Awesome. I think that they have a warehouse here in the USA. Yes, I believe they do. I believe they do. And that's why I think they're getting more and more popular, and a lot of people are starting to order from them. I personally haven't had any issues with any of the orders that I've had. I mean, it just takes a little bit of time to get there. So they're not as Speedy Gonzalez like Amazon can be. But I think that, you know, for what you're getting at the price that you're getting them at, I think that, you know, it's more than fair to just kind of wait a little bit to get it. I mean, for me, it's worth it anyway. Let's see. Oh, yes. So Boricua Sonia and Craft says, I saw Missouri Stars advertising their Christmas box. Yes, they have announced that they are doing the Christmas box again. So if you saw some episodes ago back in January, December, I forget, I think it was late December, I was trying to show the items that I got from the Missouri Star Christmas box. They are selling that again, and they're going to start taking the pre-orders, and you can do the payment either in one shot, or you can do you can break up your payments into two, but they will begin taking the sales. I think it was around the 10th. Actually, I think it started. No, sorry. I think it's Wednesday or so. I think it was on the 10th. Did anybody find the date on here? Oh, yeah. Yeah, my sister says April 10th. April 10th. So, yeah. Definitely, I really enjoyed it. Got a lot of nice little tools and knickknacks. I mean, I love to quilt things, so you know, for me, it was worth it. They're a little pricey, they are, but I think it's worth it for what you get. It was a pretty big box, and it was jammed in with a lot of stuff. I shared some of those items. Like, I like to wait until after, because you don't want to spoil it for everyone else. The way they kind of work that is what they do is they'll ask you not to post anything, because they like to open one gift a day. So I like to delay it until that time has passed and everybody has already opened it, so I don't do any spoilers out there. But I will definitely be getting it this year again. I really enjoyed it last year, so yes, I will be getting them. Alrighty. See any other questions, items out there? Oh, Robin says she might get it this year. Boricua Sonia Kraus says yes, she's getting it. It's $179.95 for the box, right? And remember, you can break that up into 2 different payments, so it doesn't feel so big. But yeah, it's pretty pricey. I mean, it's $200, but it's a pretty big box. It was pretty heavy, had a ton of projects in there, and I really love to do quilting things, so I enjoyed it and had a great time, you know, just working through it and doing. The only issue that I have is that it comes at a pretty busy time, because it is Christmas. A lot of people who are like selling things, they're just busy with orders and nobody has time to even look at it. So, you know, it's a little difficult to do it. But if you're not someone who sells or has an Etsy shop, you know, and you just enjoy crafting, then it's perfect, because you can follow along and you can log in, and they have like little messages every day, and you open up the gift and they have little tutorials on what you could do with each little project. So they kind of build up to things. So they may give you the fabric one day, and then the next day, you know, they'll give you the pattern, and so, you know, then you know you're going to be making something, and the tutorials kind of show you a little step by step on how to put it together. So it's a lot of fun. I thought it was great. Let's see. 1 minute tip says, I'll make my own version from the Dollar Tree. Yes, I love my Dollar Tree. I know not everyone has a Dollar Tree, but down here, I'm in South Florida, and they have a ton of Dollar Trees everywhere, and they're huge crafting sections. So we are a little spoiled, and we have a little fabrics, and you know, there's tons of things that you can get from there. So I typically show what they have when I find something that I get from there, and I usually show it on the channel. So oh, Crafting with Robin says, if several of us get it, we could all delay our opening and do it with Nancy. Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. That would be a lot of fun, Robin. I would really love that. Yeah, we can do that. So, you know, for those of you who get it, like I'll be showing mine's the way I did last year, so we can maybe all open it together. That would be a lot of fun. I could definitely kind of put that in my calendar. Let's see. 1 minute tip says maybe you guys can do a collab and do it together. Yeah, we can do that. Those that get it and have channels can do a week on each other's channel. Yes, I love that idea. We can do collabs and then kind of commingle each other's channels. That would be a ton of fun. So if you guys are interested in doing that and doing the collab with me, let me know. Just send me an email or type it in the chat, and I'll reach out to you. Definitely. I would love to do that. I like to get different perspectives from different crafters because, we all do things differently and see things differently, so we can help each other out. So if you are someone that has a channel and you want to do a collab with me, let me know. Throw it in the chat, send me an email. I have friend mail, so if you guys want to send something over, I can respond to letters. I had some letters from like the Netherlands and stuff for some people, and that was really nice, and I respond to them. I really enjoy that. I think it's a lot of fun to like interact with different crafters from just all over the world. So Donna says, I might try Timo. I had the idea that orders ship directly from China. No, not anymore. I think they just have their little hub here in the US though. Oh, Donna says, I noticed that your yarn bin is getting pretty full. It is. It really is. That Hobby Lobby haul that I did with that huge clearance just really filled it up. So yeah, I've got a lot of projects that I get out, but thing is with the knitting and crocheting, they take a little longer. So I have things like this that are taking me longer to do. They're not as quick as my sewing and embroidery type items, but I'm getting there. I gotta keep on top of my little projects. Alrighty. Awesome. Okay, I think that's all the comments. I don't know if I've missed anyone. If I did, I'm sorry. It kind of moves pretty fast, so I sometimes miss it. But I think I got everyone. Not sure. But if you have any questions or need help with anything, just reach out to me. So I want to go ahead and leave you guys because, it is Easter weekend and I know a lot of you are really, really busy and pulling things together. So I want to thank you guys so much and wish you guys a really happy Easter and spend time with family and friends. It's a lot of fun. Share those memories, cherish them, just have a great time. And hope you guys really enjoy your weekend and have a wonderful time. I believe the weather should kind of cooperate a little bit. But I hope you guys enjoy the company that you're with. And if you are just virtual, you can enjoy that time as well as I did with you. But thank you guys so much again for joining. And I hope to be crafting with you soon. Bye.